Now the desk is crooked, but the board is straight. That's all that matters, because I'm left-handed and I struggle to write sideways. Okay, we are doing 4.2 today. We are going to be writing equations still. In multiple forms. That's technically not the title they gave us, but that's the title I like to give. It gives it away if not. Gives my title, gives my information away. Now, we talked about a form yesterday and the day before and the day before that and the day before that. And they just put it in that form in their answer. What kind of form did we just write all our answers in yesterday on our homework? I'll give you a hint. Yeah, what? No, you're ahead of the game. It looks like this. What's that guy called? Slope something. Slope intercept form. I just call it slope intercept. I don't ever write the word form. I just need 2 words. Because I abbreviate it SI. Capitalize both letters. Saves us some time when we're writing and showing our work and doing our homework, right? Because who wants to write slope intercept over and over and over again? Not me. Now, Jacoby, the man up front, he mentioned another form. He called it this. Standard form. So first off, what do you think I'm going to abbreviate that as? SF, right? First 2 letters, right? First letter of each word, right? Does anyone remember what that equation looks like? Anybody? Anyone at all? It's got capital letters in it. There is some A's and B's and C's in it. It's got addition right, too. Matthew? No. You're missing X's and Y's and things. Come on. AX plus BY equals C. Now this one, we learned it already, and we just kind of shoved it off. But it has special rules. You remember those annoying rules? Anyone remember anything about it other than X and Y are on the same side in our answer? Does anyone remember? There's 2 really important ones. Does anyone remember anything important about standard form? Huh? That's linear equations. Oh, you're cheating if you look back. Let me give you a hint. X has to be positive. Remember we talked about that? We always move X or Y around depending on if X is positive or not. Our final answer, whatever's in front of X, has to be positive. And we're not allowed to have something, specific type of number. Close. No fractions. We don't use decimals in this class anyway. No fractions. At all. No decimals because this is math class. No fractions because this equation says so. That's the rules. And I'm going to show you how we do it. Now, there's one more type of equation. None of us have learned it. Okay? I'm going to give it to you first. This is the formula. Y minus Y sub 1 equals M parentheses X minus X sub 1. That's the formula. It looks hard, but it's not, because this one is the easiest one. You just plug numbers in and we're done. This one, look what it has in it. It has what in it? What's M stand for? What do X and Y stand for? A specific P. Look at your bell ringer. Starts with a P. Point. So it has slope and a point in it. So we're going to call it point slope form. Literally its name. It has a point in it and it has a slope in it. That's why we call it point slope. Its name literally is in what it has. It's right there. We're going to abbreviate it PS. P.S. Now, what we're going to do, there's a couple things we're going to do. But at some point, you're going to have to they're going to give you some information kind of like yesterday's, and you're going to have to put it in all three forms at the same time. Well, not at the same time because you can't write through with three different arms. None of us have three arms. And most of us can't write with more than one hand. Right? Now, there's an order to which one you should do first. I'm going to tell you right now which one it is. You should always do point slope form first. It's the easiest one. You just plug things in, done. Next one, and the best one we're used to, is slope intercept. And we save the most difficult one for last. Standard form is third. So when we do any of these problems, we save that one for last. Now, I'm showing you these abbreviations because if you have to find all three of these equations, so you have three different equations written down and you got your chicken scratch handwriting because some of you, your handwriting is pretty bad, right? Wouldn't it be easier if you labeled it so Miss Ronaldo could find it? Okay. And also, if you know the names to the equations, think you can figure out where to type it in on Alex? Might be a good idea, right? Okay. So let's try it. Let's just start one thing at a time. If I say, here's an example. I have a line that passes through, this is just silly information, by the way. This point, it is 3, -2. And it has a slope of -1/4. Put in point slope form, I'm going to abbreviate. Then, dirty words coming up, graph it. I said the G word, I'm sorry. I couldn't help it. It's what it told me to say. Putting it in point slope form, though, easy. Easy. Easy as blinking your eyeballs. Because all you got to do is look at this pretty little equation right there and plug in numbers where they go. Now, look, you have a point right here. Isn't one X and one's Y? What letter does slope stand for? M. You have X, Y, and M. Do we have X, Y's, and M's in here? So the thing is, we need to know which Y we're going to plug our numbers in for. Which one do you think we're going to plug it in for? The Y or the Y sub 1? Yeah, good job. So our equation is going to be Y minus, now what's our Y value in our equation? It's going to be -2. So instead of writing Y minus -2, what happens when you minus a negative? Instead of writing Y minus -2, that's just silly. I can write, I was going to try to see if I could erase it real quick. I can just write Y plus 2. Then equals, then it says M, what's my M again? -1/4. Then it says parentheses. Do I do anything with that X? Leave it alone. Then it says minus again. When it says X sub 1, do I have a number for that? 3. Did I take my numbers and put it in point slope form? Oh man, it I got tired. That's it. That's the answer. Did we do any math? No. All we did was take our numbers and pick her up and plop her where she goes. Now, the hard part. Graph it. Still really not that hard. They gave you a point. They gave you the slope. Your point is going to be the first thing you graph. So the only hard part is now you have to draw a graph. Ooh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. I went 8 to the left and right. Oh, I'm crooked. 4 up. Doesn't have to be pretty. We all know mine's not. So even without, don't even look at the equation. Look at what they gave you. They gave you a point. So let's plot this point. Your x value is positive 3. So go over to x is 3. Then your y is negative 2. Plot that point. Mine looks a little off. Then use your slope. That negative sign, does it go with the 1 or the 4? The 1. What are the words we use to describe slope again? Rise over run. So since the 1 is negative, because you just said that to me, how am I going to rise? Am I going to rise up or am I going to rise down? I rise down, I'm going to fall down 1. And then which way am I going to go 4? Right. I'm kind of on 3. Okay. I know. 1, 2, 3, 4. How many points do you need to make a line? 2. You really only need 2 points to make a line. I mean, more helps, but really only need 2. So then I can connect and extend. Connect and extend. Was that really that bad? Huh? Was it? Eh. Did you have to do any math? You didn't even need a calculator, right? It's a good thing. Okay. You want to try another one? Maybe a fancy one? Let's make sure it's dry before we flip her over. Okay. How about this one? My line passes through your first 3 problems, your homework are just like these. Negative 2, comma 2. And your slope is negative 3. Write an equation, point slope equation. Then graph. We're still doing the same thing, just got different numbers. So look back to your equation. I'll write it down. Someone is jamming. So let's plug in our numbers where they go. That's all we got to do first. You write it in first, and I'm going to write it after. You tell me if I'm right. 1. I'm going to make my grid, actually, on my graph. Well, that's ugly. It's just me. It just means I'm hydrating. Okay. Anyone want to tell me the equation? Jacoby. Y is positive, so it stays minus. There you go. Correct. Then when we graph, what do we always do first? So this time I switched the negatives on you. Remember, it's supposed to be minus originally in the problem. So then if it's positive, it stays minus. If it's negative, it changes. That's the hardest part. Because if we mess that up, we're going to mess everything else up. So we have to pay attention to it. Now, when I want to graph it, because it tells me to graph it, what do I do first, Peyton? They gave me a point and a slope. Which one do I use first, the point or the slope? Point. So I'm going to graph the point. X is negative 2. Y is positive 2. So I plotted the point. Now, Crystal, what am I going to do? I have a point. Now what do I do? Yeah, first, I put a 1 under the 3. Helps me see the fraction for my rise and my run. Then what am I going to do? Am I going to, with my rise and my run? I'm talking to Crystal, Morgan. Put down 3. 1, 2, 3. Which way over? Yeah. Ah! Once we have 2 points, can we connect them and extend? Let's do that before I answer the phone. Hello. I do. Yes. Bye. Crystal, you're leaving. Crystal, we have only covered the surface. Only done half of mine. I would definitely watch the video. Okay. Does that make sense? The only other thing, and I think it's pretty easy because we use those special words, Katie used them earlier, is vuxoi. Remember? Remember those words? You can get a problem just like this, but they're going to give you a point. I'm making it up, like 3, 5. Then all they're going to say is, hey, you have a horizontal line. Oh, can't spell, guys. So, do they give us a slope? No, but they told us it's a horizontal line. So did they kind of give us a slope then? Because we have a special saying to help us remember our slopes. Yeah? So horizontal line makes you think of what word? Horizontal line makes you think of what word? To help you think of hoi. Horizontal lines have what kind of slope? You're thinking about it. You're like putting your arm out. You're thinking about it. But what the line looks like. What's the slope? Toops. It's 0. That's what the O stands for. 0. That means M equals 0. That middle guy right there, he just told us that answer. So they didn't tell us really, but did they tell us the slope? So can we still make our point slope equation? We still have a point and we have a slope. The number's just 0. So let's write it. Let's make our point slope equation. Anyone want to take a crack at it right now? Matthew? Okay. Close. The 3's already, yeah. Minus and negative means plus. And with point slope form, it's a magical thing. You can plug the 0 in and leave it there. You do not have to solve anything. You just leave it. There's no math involved in point slope form. You just type it in and leave her alone. Now that we have the equation, you think we could graph it? Jacoby's already using his arms and being like, hey, I know what the line looks like. So let's try it. I gotta make sure I make it big enough for my point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just like all the other ones, what did we use first? The point or the slope when we made a graph? The point. So we're going to plot the point. X is -3. So I go left 3, -3. Y is 5, up 5. I should have made these. I'm going to make more tallies just so. Oh boy. There you go, 5 is there. Woo. There's my point. Now, it told us what kind of line it is. So what kind of line am I going to draw? That's a little crooked because I'm crooked. I'm a mess today. Josiah, what am I going to do with that line to show it's horizontal? Which way? Left or right? I'm just going to kind of cut through 5. Like he means nothing to me. That's a good line. You know, he's fine. Yes. Dumb question. It asks you to put it in point slope and graph it. It just asks you that information. It's to practice point slope, that's all. It's to practice both those things. Because now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to put them in all 3 forms. You ready? Miss Weave's out. She's here for you. Even though we're down 3 calculators in this room now. Okay. You ready to try it the other way? Just find the equations. You don't have to graph these on the positive. But there is some math involved, okay? Huh? Okay. So the instructions literally says, I'll write it down for you. Write an equation in point slope, comma, slope intercept, comma, and standard form. So this one, they put it in the order you should do them. Will they always, though? No, which is why we went through, right, on our notes, we went, which one should we do first? Okay, but I wrote them on the left so we could see the equations while we're doing it. I thought ahead a little bit. Okay. Now I just don't have enough room at all for my arm. Let's start with this. It says m equals -6. And then you have the point, moving around, -9, comma 9. So it says m equals negative, it even says m, it doesn't even say slope. And then you have the point 9, comma 9. As a reminder, we want to do all 3 and we want to label them, but we're going to do one at a time. Do you remember which one we're going to do first? Which equation are we going to do first? Jacoby. Point slope, the one it says to do first. And point slope, as soon as you type these numbers in, they're right. So it says m equals this. You can label it x and y. Look, they're right there. X and Y. So I like to write PS, right? Because who wants to write point slope out a bunch of times? Now let's type it in. Look, my equation's right here. The hard part's putting it in standard form. We'll get there. Let's write it in. Do I plug anything for this first Y? No. So I'm going to write Y. Minus Y sub 1. So I'm going to write minus. What's Y sub 1? It's 9. So I'm going to keep it 9. Then equals, what's M? Negative 6. Parentheses. Do I put anything in for that X? Nope. So X minus, what's X sub 1? Does that change my equation? Yes, it's going to turn into plus. Plus 9. Look, that's the answer. You already have 1/3 of this already done. Ta-da. Part 2, slope-intercept form. So let's look at it. Slope-intercept form has y by itself. And this equation is y by itself. And it's simplified. So we need to do two different things to make point slope into slope intercept. What do you think we need to do first? We got some stuff going on here, and then y is not alone. What are we going to do first, you think, Josiah? Nope. In your order of operations, always deal with the parentheses first. So take the negative 6 and multiply it by x. Take the negative 6 and multiply it by 9. So that is going to be a bigger number. So y minus 9 equals, what's negative 6 times x? Negative 6x, that one was easy. What is negative 6 times 9? Negative 54. Now that the parentheses are gone, and you will do the parentheses first every single time. Now, Josiah, what am I going to do? You answer the question. That's why I already. Yep, and take this 9. I need to move it to the other side. So every time you're going to move that 9. I add 9 to 9. What other number do I add 9 to? The 54 or the 6x? The 54. So then y is finally alone. 6x had nothing added to him. What does negative 54 plus 9 turn into? Negative 45. Now, is this in slope-intercept form? So what should I do to the side of it? I should label it so I know that's it. Miss Rinaldi can find it. And you can find it when you're looking through all your crazy madness of work. Because you can't really do this stuff without work. Now the last one is standard form. Look at it. Standard forms says the final answer needs x and y on the same side. Are x and y on the same side of the equal sign? No. So what are we going to do to get x and y on the same side, and x needs to be positive? Matthew. Yep. 6x is negative. I just want to move it over there with y. So I'm going to add 6x to both sides. Can I actually add 6x and y together, Jacoby? No, they're different variables. So I have 6x plus y equals negative 45. What is the other rule that's really important about standard form that can't happen? No, that's allowed to happen. No, that's linear equations. What did we write? Literally right here in your notes. We wrote x has to be positive and no, no fractions. Are x and y on the same side? Is x positive? Are there any fractions? No. So once you answer yes, yes, then no, you're done. That's it. Y'all are answering too many questions. You keep thinking about linear equations. That's it. Done. Finito. Now, we're going to try one when maybe your slope is a fraction. Okay, what time is it? Okay. How about this guy? How about m equals negative 1/3? Then you're given the point 2 comma negative 3. Again, that's m. This is x. This is y. What are we going to plug it into first? Which equation? Point slope, right? So point slope, look at the original over here, or on your paper, it's probably easier. What's my equation going to be for point slope? What do we do? Keep the y or change it? 3. It's 1/3, negative 1/3. Do we already write? Are we moving ahead? Are you guys working ahead without me? Okay. Katie, you want to tell me the point slope equation? Okay. Good job. Okay. Good job. Perfect. Okay. Every single time we do this to find the slope-intercept form, what do we do first? Bella, what do we have to do to slowly get y by itself? What do we do first when we solve this? First distribute. Okay. What is negative 1/3 times x? Negative 1/3 x. What's negative 1/3 times negative 2? Nope. Positive 2/3. Close. What do I do to get y finally by itself? Subtract 3 from both sides. What do we get as a final answer? I'm scooting to the right because I don't have a lot of room. Minus 3. 3 is really 9/3, so it's 7/3. You just accidentally made them both the same sign, Jacoby. 2/3 is positive, 3 is negative. So negative 1/3 x minus 7/3. That's slope-intercept form. Okay, how are we going to get it in standard form? Always think about moving x and y first. We want x and y to be on the same side and x to be positive. Gracie, is x positive right now? So should we move it to make it positive? So what are we going to do to make it positive? Yep, just add it to both sides. So then I have 1/3 x plus y equals negative 7/3. So I have x and y on the same side. That's good. I have x is positive. What's the last rule, Gage, that's in standard form? What's the thing it's not allowed to do? No fractions. Do you remember how we get rid of fractions? Close. It's already, fractions technically mean they are dividing. How do we get rid of division? Multiply. So what's the bottom of both these fractions? 3. So you're going to multiply everything by 3. Since almost everything's divided by 3, do the opposite. Just change everything times 3. See if you get, and then still keep them their separate numbers. See if you get the same answers I have on the board. Do we get the same answer? Remember how to multiply fractions in our calculator. That's super important. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing, but they are not going to give us slope. The last kind of problem. They still ask us to write all those equations. They just give us 2 points. Okay, how about -4, 11 and -8, -1. So that's all they give us. They just give us 2 points, and they say write an equation in all 3 forms. And then this is all you know. -4, 11 and -8, -1. So you have 2 points. They never told us a slope. But using 2 points, can you find the slope? Did we just do this yesterday / this morning when we were just doing review problems? Bella was on the board. Right? We can still do this. X sub 1, Y sub 1, X sub 2, Y sub 2. Right? And you're allowed to use these formulas on your test. I give them to you. Y sub 2 minus Y sub 1. Don't forget your minuses. Right? That's the formula for slope. So we can use it. So let's do it. Figure out what it is. It should not be. You're not checking your negatives again. Did you change it into a plus at the bottom? So do we know what M is? Do we have points? Now we have to do point, slope, form, and all of that. Do you think it matters which point we use? Which point? You can always use the first point. How are you going to decide which point you use? I would pick the one that I marked x1 and y1. That would make the most sense to me, right? Because that's what the equation says. But it's completely up to you. Just don't mix your points together. So I have M there. I'm going to use those points. Now I could type it in point, slope, form. How about you guys do it? You feeling all confident? I'll freeze it. You do the problem. I'll do the problem. We'll see if we got the same answer. How about that? Getting all saucy with me. with your faces since you're not saying anything. Standard form one's a weird predicament. I don't know what Josiah's doing, but I feel like half this class been done for a while. Yeah, yeah. Gage is done. Ethan just didn't do it. Matthew looks done. Oh, I'm done. I finished the problem. Gage, are you done? You finished the whole problem. Gracie looks like she's done. She's getting there. Katie, you done? Katie's done. Austin was done when he checked in this morning. I was so good I did it in my head. Oh, Josiah, you're funny. Matthew, you trying to do it in your head? He said that birdie's noisy. What'd he say? Yeah. I'm thirsty. Oh, he doesn't need a calculator. He's just trying to do it without writing it down. It's not that he can't do it. He's just trying to cheat his way out of it because I did it without any work. Mm. Mm. That's a minus, by the way. I couldn't erase it because the marker dries. I meant to wet it. I knew I forgot some. Too busy bullying Josiah. You're gonna have to grab it because he's not gonna wake up to grab it. Check your equations. Did you get the right equations? Right negatives and everything? Because you're messing up it's always y minus and x minus, but if you're plugging in a negative, it turns to plus. So if you mess up point slope form, you literally will mess up all the three answers. That's why you want to do point slope form small, like slowly write it and then double check to make sure that you didn't miss a negative. Because if you mess up that one, you literally mess up the entire problem. Just like if you mess up slope, you mess up the entire problem. If you got them all right until the last one, That means you didn't reorganize correctly. Because you can't just switch the sides of x and y. You also have, because like x is positive, so technically to get x and y on the same side, you should basically just switch x and the whole number, I mean y and the whole number. But when you do that, you have to change your sides. It just takes lots and lots of practice, right? It just takes time. That's why I only gave you 6 problems for homework. So the first 3 problems are like these ones when you put it in just in point slope form and then you graph it. And then the last 3 problems are like this. There's 2 where it gives you the slope. There's 1 where it doesn't give you the slope and you have to do it. So they're not long, but each of them have 3 answers, right, in these parts. So make sure you pay attention to what you're doing. And tomorrow we'll really go over it.